Well, isn't this a pleasant surprise? And here I was thinking I was going to have to sneak back into your home just to get the pleasure of another encounter with you. But alas, here you are making yourself comfortable in my garden. Hello, human. Funny how I don't have to invite you in. But I guess that's what I deserve for so rudely intruding in our last meeting. So I guess I can't hold this one against you. Tell me, liking the view? It is a magnificent garden, is it not? It has all the allure and enthralling ability of a vampire, wouldn't you say? Well, after so many decades, you tend to pick up a few hobbies. All the foliage you see here was so generously donated to me by a good friend a couple of centuries ago. We still keep in touch somewhat, but he's more of the busy bee type, while I'm just a lazy Susan. Garden humor. Oh, yes. I've been around these parts for quite a while. But when you're immortal, you sort of have to make people think that you're your own next of kin every few generations. Some people still make remarks that how I look just like my father and grandfather. Little do they know. But yes, I'm quite the elegant fossil, huh? How old am I exactly? Well, that's a long story. Let's just say I've been alive for quite some time, and I'll still be here long from now. I was I was a poor man way back when, doing what I could to provide for the ones I loved. I wasn't this elegantly dressed pinnacle of perfection you see before you. No, I was just a no one, living nowhere, doing nothing really. But that was when the famine hit. People starved to death, and pestilence and disease took down those who managed to supply enough food. But as for my younger brother and I, we were ridden with disease, lying in the dirt, in the middle of a dead field awaiting our approaching demise. And that's when she showed up. The great Elder One, Babylon. She offered us life everlasting, and the ability to never suffer sickness ever again. And all we had to do was drink her blood. Needless to say, there was still much my brother and I wanted to do with our lives. So, fast forward a couple of centuries, and here I am, still stuck in my beauty, but with the price of being a slave to the sanguine hunger. But, luckily, I've had my brother to accompany me through the years. However, since he was a bit younger than myself, he still has that insatiable need to experience life to the fullest. I almost envy him. I guess my age has brought about more sloth than I should have hoped for. Hmm? Oh, well, yes. Sunlight and I don't necessarily agree, but I can easily hide its effects. It hurts like a bitch, don't get me wrong, but I digress. I'm still technically a thrall, a second-hand vampire, able to hide my looks behind my remaining humanity and this nifty little daylight ring. But sunlight affects different vampires in different ways. You see, my brother and I are just one of the many archetypes. Pray you never encounter something higher on the food chain than myself. I bet Ronald is having a field day talking to the mayor right now, too. Ronald is my brother. Yes. There is this old abandoned mansion behind the town that he plans to turn into some sort of academy building, in the future at least. I applaud his efforts, but I fear that he plans to use that as his personal hiding spot. Well, either way, it may have an impact on the growing world we live in. I just fear that I'll be old enough to see its rise and its fall, as all things must. And I don't know where he's getting the funds for it, but I fear it may have something to do with those men and women of science that have since moved here. I find it odd, but the scent of their intentions is repulsive. I just hope that Ronnie isn't letting his eternal youth cloud his judgment. But, alas, time shall tell. And time waits for no man, but it does wait for a vampire. Come, my dear. If you find my garden amazing, just wait until you see the temple in the woods south of here. It's strange, but it is quite the sight to behold if you're down for that. Well then, follow me. See? Isn't this so intriguing? All of this ancient and forgotten lore to the world. I don't even believe I was old enough to exist during its creation. And look here. See these statues? 7 of them. I think they represent some deities of different kinds. Guardians of the natural world, from what I could surmise from the languages written around. But what's strange is that, in all of the many years that I've been alive, I've never heard of a religion or anything about these beings anywhere, at least in the world. It's just this one temple in the middle of the Sparian woods. If you were to ask me, I'd say it seems almost out of place. And look, the orange one looks angry. Excuse me, hi. I must ask the 2 of you to leave this area. This is now private property. I apologize. Wait, you wouldn't happen to be part of that new group of intellectuals that recently moved into West Haven, would you? Why, yes. Jedediah Felt, at your service. My business partners and I are actually just arriving from the colonies, sent to explore some recent discoveries in our field made in these parts. And this just so happens to be one of them. Now, please, we must continue our work undisturbed. Very well. We were just leaving. Remember when I told you I can sort of smell and tensions. Don't look now, but I just got a very putrid stench from that man. I don't like this. Not one bit. Come on. Perhaps we can discuss other matters when we get back to the mansion.